What is that? I saw a very interesting video today on YouTube about one of my favorite composers and someone that I continually study and become amazed by the depth of the music that came out of a very few number of pieces and different variations for different size orchestras and such. But the story goes, and it's on my website and it's also on YouTube if you look for it. But story goes that towards the end of his life, Copeland was sitting in his chair, and for the last couple weeks or months, people were coming over and had asked, hey, we want to, can we have the right to produce, your one and only opera? And nothing came of that, as far as I know. Just what's out there now. However, being that Aaron Copland was suffering from dementia, and not dementia, back up, you erase that. Aaron Copland did not have dementia. He had severe Parkinson's disease. And at that moment in time, towards the end, he couldn't speak. And this is such a great story on how it works. So he's sitting around with his, friends and family as they're reminiscing about the life and the life of Aaron Copland and how important he was to so many composers and how much he meant to America and music in general. And he couldn't speak. So as this was going on and on, day after day, one day, feeble old man leaps out of his chair. And while he couldn't speak, he did the one thing he could do. It played these 6 notes. These 2 chords became the basis of something extraordinary. We'll dive deeper into that and why that's so important and why it works and how many other composers have employed that same concept. If you can catch hold of it, you'll understand, but you're going to have to study very deeply on a lot of different matters that are beyond just music theory, but in the realm of, dare I say, the divine. And it's been spoken about and written about, and you know it. Probably the story's pretty well, but in any case, so what we've done was, based on our love and our understanding of Aaron Copland, all minimal as it is, I put together a patch for Unify, and I'm going to demonstrate it inside this template I made for FL Studio for BBCSO by Spitfire Audio. And what I've done was I've made key switches for every single articulation that are mapped to, a simple drum pad, touch drum pad, the Akai Professional MPD 218. And what I've done is I've mapped with custom mapping both most of the controls that are available in the Spitfire player to my left hand, so that my thumb and my first finger can control dynamics, and my ring finger can control simultaneously expression, and when I put out my middle finger, I can control vibrato. I've also assigned all the other macro parameters to that. But when I key switch, they're key switched, or they're set so that A, they're out of my way, or B, it's easy to record it and play it in with key switching. As you're playing in a couple chords, you can go from spiccato to longs to legato to, whatever makes sense. But it's an easy way to do it, and it cuts down a lot of automation time. Usually what I do is I perform, it becomes more performance oriented rather than just typing things into into the piano roll, although you can do that. Now, this example I'm going to show you relies heavily on MIDI, and it's pretty cool. So may I introduce you now to a patch I made for Unify that's in my upcoming library called BBCSO X. X because it's extreme. So what you're looking at here is the inside of a patch I'm working on. It's not complete. I'm trying to capture all of the nuances of certain pieces of music written by Aaron Copland. Right now we're looking at Appalachian Spring, Concert Suite 1, very slow. So I put in all the the right instruments, although you'll see down here there's some other instruments that are not yet there, but they're in other concert pieces, like for example, brass and glockenspiel and harp and all that stuff that you expect in a bigger orchestra. So it looks to me like he was doing performances for different venues. So that's pretty cool. So now if you look up here, there's a well, I don't want to reload this, but normally, yeah, I am going to reload this. But we call this COPLANDIUM. COPLANDIUM is a rare element that we made up. A rare musical element, if not the rarest. It's like gold pressed latinum in the Star Trek universe. But we're going to call it COPLANDIUM. It's a currency. If you learn this stuff, if you understand what's happening and you really study deep into it, we're not talking about just simple music theory. We are way, way beyond that. As I said, we're delving into an area that's quite different. Okay, so here we go. Here's when you see this when you're in Unify, that means there's some kind of content in there. Also, one of the things I like too is that there's a description. I don't know if it's filled out, but it'll tell you what's going on. COPLANDIUM, a rare element continuing to inspire composers. And it gives you the track we're talking about. It gives you a little description of what's in there. It also gives you some notes here. So this is a 16-minute long piece of MIDI. So it's 161 bars, measures inside a MIDI box with fully orchestrated playback. So when you listen to it, you really listen to it. And it's not, like I said, it hasn't been orchestrated correctly. I didn't do the key switch articulation commands yet, any of that. It's just straight, straight instruments coming out of the BBCSO playing a particular articulation. Like I've got, I don't know why this still says tremolo. It's not tremolo. In any case, but when you listen, let's see how many film soundtracks and themes and styles and TV and perhaps even some leitmotifs that immediately jump out at you when it's hard to listen to this and not want to compose, because it's just something to do with Copland's I guess you could say it's his technique. It's way more than just technique. It's pretty straightforward and simple, but it's about what he's actually trying to say. And that's why we're here with Copland. What was Copland trying to say? What was his secret? When he played that, as his last thing. What's going to happen? What legacy did he leave behind? What did he do? Did he do that? No, he did not do that. He did this. Sorry about the wrong note there. No, not that. Is that in there? Where's that? In relation to this? Nowhere. But if you just examine what he was saying, just contained within those two simple major chords superimposed. What kind of combinations can you pull out? By dropping this, moving it around. Fourths, heavy fourths, 11ths. I mean, everything is contained within that. So I think he was telling us what his contribution was, and it was significant. And I don't think he's the only one. He figured something out. So let's delve into it and see if we can figure some stuff out. But without further ado, let's listen to this new patch. Because I'm pretty excited about it. This is cool. This just leads to a whole other place, because I think that we're onto something with this Copland thing. Something I had never realized before. Open up. There you are. So I'm going to hold down one key, and I'm just going to play. As you can see, you see where we're going with this, and you know the track we're going on, except some of this stuff is mislabeled. But anyway, so we've got, full string section. Obviously, it's very string heavy. We've got a flute, clarinet, a bassoon, and a piano. That's for the small setup. But as you'll see, I do have an oboe in here. It's not in the original composition or in the one we're looking at. It's got this. So let's hear what that sounds like together. And keep in mind, I did not do any articulation at all. Any dynamic expression you hear is probably me just playing with the mod wheel or the knobs, the two macro knobs that are tied to, for example, expression, dynamics, reverb, as I described before. And in this patch, we've got all kinds of controls to be able to control how much CS do I want and those strings, how much violins, how much violas, whatever. And I have total control over that, how much everything for all of those things. Right now, like I said, there's no brass, but there's also some kind of built-in articulation that handles volume automation, something I don't have to do. There's also an easy way to figure out, let's say you want to put you put your own MIDI and you load this MIDI box instead of, like, for me, for example, I have this and I've already got it set up because I've already did that. And the idea is you do it in advance, you label it in your DAW, export it as MIDI, bring it back in the MIDI box, set up a folder or whatever, and now you can put it into a patch that you can use again if you like the sound. Like, for example, let's turn. Another thing you can do is when you come back and you want to record another thing with different motif, different key, different everything. You'll turn off the MIDI box. You solo this out. Now you're only playing this particular instrument. So it's soloed. So when I go over here and I go to record, watch. Whoops. Hold on, my controller is not plugged in here. Let me plug in my controller real quick. Boy, it is sure amazing that you can plug things in and unplug things like that. So I know I may be rambling here. This is not a professional video at all. I'm just trying to capture some concepts quickly while they're still fresh. There we go. Okay, back in business. Love these MIDI controllers. Okay, so now that we're playing this, and we've only got, as we said, oops, let's go back. It's in here somewhere. Hold on. Roop, roop, roop. I don't know what happened to it. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, Copeland? All right. I'm just learning this. Oh, this is really, we'll talk about that later. So let's go back to here. Oh, maybe it just takes a while to load up. Oh, what's going on here? Just saw it. There it is. Okay, let's save preferred so we don't lose it again. Okay, so we're in this particular track. Whoops. Now we're on a different track. A little housekeeping while I'm here. Internally consistent. Now if I move around on this track thing, this track button, and these are all assignable to MIDI controllers, by the way. So now I'm on this track. What am I playing in violas here? Doesn't sound like I'm playing anything. Why? Because I still have the MIDI box on. That's supposed to be off. These are not completely done yet, but I'm over a key switch so we can do it. Hit the long CS one. Something's not right here. That's a little bug, and my logo's not showing up. My branding, y'alls. Why is it in legato only? Is that what I want? Oh, yeah. In fact, I do want it in legato. But I'm going to put it in long just in case. Let's put it in CS so that we can really hear it here. So real quick, just save this because I don't know what can happen when we're running multiple things here. Yeah, too bad this doesn't fit in here, so I never go over there. Okay. All right, so now I want to record instrument 3, right? The only thing that's coming on here is instrument 3, so I double click in here and I start playing. Hopefully this will work. Oh, that's the minor version of what we're talking about. Interesting. So I just recorded that. Let's stop that. Not so concerned. And then what I can do is go back, figure out where I am. Where am I? I want to do dynamic map. So watch this. Now I'm going to go back and re-record. Now I'm going to just record dynamics. That was weird. Yeah. Da-na-na-na-na. It's the anti-Copeland. Who's the anti-Copeland? Let me guess. You know what? Who would be the anti-Copeland? Danny Elfman? Maybe Danny Elfman is the anti-Copeland. But there it is. But there's my expression mapped out right there. So now when I go to export this, there was something weird that happened. But if I want to go export this, I go to here. This is why I use FL Studio, because now what I can do is I can go File, Export as MIDI, add it where I want it, right? And it's a MIDI file. It doesn't have a title. But if I title it and send it out, it might also pick up. Sometimes it picks up the name of the instrument. I don't know why it's not doing that at this particular time, but normally it picks up the name of the instrument, and when you come back, it'll have all of this information. So, for example, if I labeled this way, I know that when I open it up in my MIDI box, I'm looking for this number one, and then maybe it has a. We're not going to name it real specific, but anyway, that's how that works. So we're gonna. I'm gonna take that. All right, get out of there. Right, let's get out of the piano roll. By the way, F7 piano roll. F5 playlist. I mean, it's fascinating. It's a pretty cool thing. All right, so another thing I want to talk about is that because this is the quick sketch builder, even though we're really looking at Copland here, but we're inside of one of our templates for FL. What's interesting about it is everything is already ready to go. So your main theme, your motifs that come out of it, split by section, by A section, B section kind of thing, or C section, as many as you want. Each one has its own piano roll. You can set the number of measures. You can set the time signature, whatever. Anything you can do in any other DAW. In fact, I mean, this is so seamless. I really like it. And you'll see why. All right. And here's where the signals are going. Here's this is already set up so that is it not loud enough? What's going on? Oh, you know why? Because I'm not over there. I'm over here. As you can see, I don't have anything. On this one, I do have some compressor and a stereo shaper, and I'll turn all that off. I don't actually need that. You know why? Because it gets picked up over here. So I'll turn off the processing here. It'll get picked up here with the stereo width and all that. As I'm playing through, we're going to be able to check where we stand. So we're not going to have much to worry about as far as that go when we send it out for mastering. So, and I'm going to show you how to send this out, how to do inside everything inside of Unify or FL Studio. I use this as the work part of it. I see both as, workstations. For me, Unify is becoming a workstation, and the more and more stuff I add, like the functionality of like what I just showed you, it's going to be cooler, right? Now, maybe you want to see this, maybe you want to listen, maybe you don't. Anyway, of course you want to listen. Let's hear what it sounds like. That's the most important part. Now, again, let's go down to track, turn all tracks on, get this all straightened out, and let's listen again. Aaron Copland, Appalachian String, Appalachian Strings, Appalachian Spring. Normally it would show up in here, but since we're already beyond that stage, so turn the mic off real quick. By the way, I'm just holding down one finger, holding down the C, middle C, and letting it play out, and to see what kind of gems I can discover in the middle of this. 15 minutes of MIDI, one key. And since we have all the MIDI, we can chop it up and extract the minerals from this, the additional, so we can combine it with other things, make an alloy, so to speak. I like the elements analogies, but we're still going. Let's see what's going on inside of Unify. So Unify is telling us all this is happening. I can also, you know what, I'm going to put a loudness meter in there. Where is it? Simple one. So now we can see what's going on. And we're not all the way up. But this is about right about where you want it to be. It's at minus 18 for me, and for you, coincidentally, because that's where I want to be. When I go for production and I go for mastering, then I want it to be as close to loud as possible, which is kind of like this. Yeah, no. And I want to save my ears. That's why we have, these are, little symbols are important too. Still holding down one key. And now I'm going to switch over to the, let me go over here so you can see what I'm actually doing here. Let's go to Unify again. Holding down the sustain pedal. By the way, this little keyboard comes with, it's called Show MIDI. It's downloadable as a VST, or it also comes with Unify, which is pretty cool. Just holding it down. Here, let me put some dynamics in it. Especially that rich. That's kind of weak. I gotta fix that. Not the right articulation. All right. Next one. I'm still holding it down. Still playing. Hey, what happened? That's what's happening in my basic controller. Alright, let's go over here. We haven't automated this yet, but we could. Keep going. Oh, you know why? Because I set the number of bars, measures. Okay, this is what I was talking about. Alright, so I got this over here, right? What I need to do is connect this to separate controls, because I may want to sound like with no strings at all. Just that one phrase, man. Let's try it again. This time with a little brass in there. That sounds like. With that brass, you hear something totally different. It goes right into rodeo. Or fanfare. It's going to blow our head off when we get to the other parts. So come down a little bit. All right, now let's add some dynamics to the whole mix. Ah. I swear I can hear ghosts in here sometimes. Sordino's really cut. Think about changing those just to regular ones. Actually, it's probably harmonics. Could just turn this into like an Evo or something. Yeah, COPLANDIUM Evo. That's next. Nothing clipping. Yeah, articulations need to be fixed. Articulation, obviously. This doesn't get smaller than that. Oh, this is cool. That sounds like a lot of Star Trek cues. It's reminding me of Dennis McCarthy. Or, like hard. Not the right articulation, but almost peaking. And this is coming out of inside of Unify. That's what we're looking at. This is what I'm telling you, man. It just brings you to a whole other place. As soon as I get to this, whoa, what the hell was that? Anyway, I just got sucked into something weird. Anyway, that's what I got for today. So we're continuing to work on COPLANDIUM. Okay, next thing, I want to show you what we've got inside of here. You click on that button, it's going to bring you to a little square icon. It's going to bring you to some other places. So I just want to walk through where we are here. Now we're inside of. So this is what we're working on right now. So, how we're making these patches. First thing we're doing is, obviously, we're not using professional. We're using core. I don't need 20 signals, as you can hear. And I'll show you a comparison before. Anyway, by the way, on the sale, seriously thinking about the SSD version. But I got something else in mind. I want to see if I can bundle it all together and sell it with BBCSO, the DAW, everything bundled together, plus Unify, plus my library, and put it all together into one thing and maybe some cool stuff. I don't know. Anyway, but it's using Unify. There is Unify, and it's a nice description under there. The refined and polished version we have ever released. Random patch selection. Anyway. And what's cool about when you get into the, into the Unify ecosystem, you'll find there are a lot of products that are made for, some are made for specific plugins that you may have, like Omnisphere or Absinthe or whatever. I mean, there's a library for a whole bunch of stuff. It's very cool. Now what PluginGuru is doing is developing for Unify only patches and Unify only instruments. So you just need Unify. You don't need any additional instruments. The instruments come with, as well as, so if you're running it standalone, I mean, here you go. I don't know what this is. It's a Unify demo. It's all made with Unify. Pretty loud. But anyway, you should read up on it. They have a free trial that kind of craps out after 15 minutes, but that's it. And also inside of the Unify plugin, whether you're running it standalone or inside a DAW, you have access to the website where you can find all kinds of really deep, analysis on stuff and some heavy duty thinking about music and things like that. We don't teach music theory and stuff like that here. We're talking about applied. I mean, why is it even a theory? It's already been applied a million times. You just need to listen to the examples and reverse engineer them. Not if you need to know how the theory works, that's not going to get you through all the way to the point that you're able to deliver a mock-up, right? So you must have theory. Regardless of in what stage you're in. Okay, one of the things that you can check out is orchestration recipes, step-by instruction for DAW composers. This is great. I haven't tried this one yet, but this is what it looks like. Here's an example. Let's try, and he's got an interesting way to do it where he compares it all to cooking. It's pretty interesting. So let's find this one is calling an example called dislocated tethers. Basically, it gives you the recipe for that stuff, but on a deep level, and uses some are the first one's classical, the second one is. But anyway, they're different. It's an idea. This is hysterical right here.
This is an orchestral sample library. It's from Spitfire or Cinesamples or Orchestral Tools or some such, I forget which. But it really is very good. It also really is very expensive. This is a picture of the car I had to sell to buy my orchestral sample library, but that's okay, because this is a picture of the composer I will sound exactly like now that I have my sample library, so that's cool. Now this is another orchestral sample library, the one I bought to replace that first one. It's from Strezov or Sample Modelling or VSL, I forget which, but it really is very good. And of course it was also very expensive, but I had to buy it because it turns out my compositions with that first sample library didn't actually sound like this composer after all, but more like this one, which means there must be something wrong with the first sample library. In fact, just quietly while I've got you here talking about that old sample library, I read on a forum somewhere that the legato samples in that library don't have enough round-robin crossfades or something. I'm not really sure what they meant, but whatever.
Actually, it was lacking in bespokeness. In any case, now if this is kind of like what the course looks like, I'm not going to give it away completely, but I'm not done with it. But basically, it gives you an example on what it's made out of, and this one you can get on YouTube. So I'm not giving away the story here. PBS. Pretty cool, right? Anyway, I'm not going to give it away. It's really cool, but it does give you the a lot of information on why it works. It's really about orchestration, and it gives you an example and what makes that work. Let me find something that's a little more a different recipe here. Wow. Let's try. I don't know. Let's try something. Let's try a horn parisien with tremolo juste. Does that sound like? Actually, we're not going to go through all that. We're going to just go through the example here. Right? Okay. Now, you'd be pleased to know that as a companion to this, if you buy this, I'm going to see if I can get him to buy this, and you buy Unify and put all this stuff together, and what do you get? The recipes. Okay, what was that one? That was recipe 3, nostalgic, the first version. Let's see what we got. So let's load this up real quick. I don't think there's a way for me to edit this. Minutes later. Okay, here we go. We're in. What do we listen to? I transpose all these around so that they'll work with inside of Unify, but they're all who's playing what. Yeah, I gotta go back and clean these up. But let's here. Where were we? Was that it? One of the things he mentioned was that it works better when they're really quiet. Guess I'll put all these together too. Here's the MIDI. How many bars? We're going to do 12 bars. So if we don't want it to play that long, that part, the violin's one part, we can reduce this. I only want to play for 1 bar. It's going to play that first bar again and again. Now it's going to play all the way through. It's kind of boring. Let's try a different key. And also, it's also polyphonic. Yep, I think that's the negative Copeland thing, because that almost wanted to go Deep Space Nine or something. Maybe there's a different one. I have my own, which are kind of cool. Some of them are just based on regular stuff. Some are based on... They're not as clean as this. I'm going to work on the orchestration a little better so that they sound nice and clean like the other ones. And what's interesting about it is you can chop them up and use them. I mean, you know what the mood is, and it's like your go-to recipe, and you take it from there. I would almost say that I would go to the COPLANDIUM one first and play around with that. I'm going to put a whole different bunch of pieces of music that are different, that really capture the essence of that. All right, what is this? I recognize that cue. About ready to steal some clothes. All right, let's try a different one, or a different key. Turn off the MIDI box. You can just... So I don't want to hear it. I'm going to play it. Something's playing. How does that overlay with the Copeland stuff? Oh yeah, I forgot. I programmed with that. So it's fun to play with. If you just want to play it like an instrument, some sound really... They all sound great, but they sound great when they start playing harmonies. It's amazing when the harmonies are starting to come out. This is a little high. Bring that down. This is all Spitfire things. So let's turn on the MIDI boxes. Close this and get out. So, hey, I'm Mark. Thanks for joining me today. Keep posted. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep putting some information as I roll this out, and I start treating this as the startup, as that it is, and we'll go from there. And we can detail a lot more about this kind of stuff. Just for absolute, absolute and radical transparency. Yes, I will have a product for sale, and at some point, I'm going to try to sell you one of those things. So I hope you're not offended by that. I'm not looking to give it away. I think that this is too valuable. I hope you find it valuable as well, and I hope I can provide you some value in the meantime and help you out with any issues you might have. Anyway, I'm Mark. Thanks so much for joining.